Hello, welcome back. We're talking about Centrify Infrastructure Services and the CPS component. CPS is the Vault and Jumpbox component of Centrify. And although this was designed as a SaaS solution, Centrify released a little bit over a year ago a customer managed version of the software. We're talking about high availability, and we've produced a couple of videos. The first one was about administrative failover, in which we paused a system, this one, to to be able to take it out of the cluster as it was the active node, and we verified that it transferred correctly. Also, we ran a backup while the system was being used, and we also verified that we were able to maintain high availability. In this test, what we're going to do is I've started the upgrade of this machine here, member 3. And the reason why we have 3 nodes in this cluster is because even if I am upgrading one of the systems, I can still maintain high availability because I have at least a 2-node cluster, right? So one of the things that we can do is we can actually start the upgrade. In this case, it's going to be on member 3. And notice that I already finished the GUI piece. When I press finish here and press yes, this is going to start the PowerShell part of it. This means that the system is being upgraded. If I go into Privilege Service, notice that it's actually working. The owner node based on Windows Failover Clustering is member 4, so I can verify looking here about and notice that it's member 4. I could do a transaction, for example, maybe I need proctored access to a Windows system with a local account. That's definitely something that we can do as long as we configure the system correctly, which I haven't. But it's a simple checkbox here in this test environment, right? So repeating that again, I'm gonna just go ahead and with a local account, I'm gonna get an RDP session to the system, right? So the system is basically working, and at the same time we're having an upgrade going on, right? One of the things that we can do is we could simulate a failure, right? We could actually simulate a failure of the system as we are doing the upgrade. The easiest thing would be to actually perhaps, if we want to do this gracefully, shut down the owner node so we know that it's member 4, right? So if I go to the system and I shut down the system, right? My expectation is that if I go back to my Windows Failover Clustering, is that it's going to realize that something happened with that node, and notice that it's actually switching as we speak, and we have member 3 that is in service receiving an upgrade, but member 2 will be the logical solution at this point. So what you'll see is that now we can actually try and monitor. So let's go ahead and use a little PowerShell here, and let's look what's the status of the W3 service now in member 2. It's running, and if I do the same thing but for the database, in this case member 2, notice that both are running right now. So one of the things that I can do is try and refresh here and verify that the system is running and that the failover happened, right? So in this case, our design has actually worked as expected. We have a 3-node cluster. This means that if something went wrong while one of the systems is in maintenance or in an upgrade, we can still do that. And let's just go ahead and, for example, we could try and check out a password or something of that nature. So for example, let's see, I'm going to check out the SA password. Let me see if I have SQL Manager, SQL Server Studio. Right, typically what you want to do is probably disconnect. And let's go ahead and connect again. In this case, I'm going to use a local SQL account. Quite popular, this one, right? And what I can do is right-click on it, check out. I can copy the password. Password has been copied. Now I can go back to SQL Manager and paste it here and do my connect, and notice that I was able to do that. If I go back to Privilege Service, I will have an active checkout in the dashboard. So if we go over here, you see that I have an active checkout. I could actually check it in as well if needed. So, but yeah, so what was the expected result? We're doing an upgrade. One of my nodes failed, but I still was able to maintain high availability.